Hello everyone, today is the 17th of March, it is Wednesday, no it's not, it's Tuesday. And today's video, I'm so sorry, I can't edit today's video because my computer's charger cable decided to start smoking, meaning it's broken. So I'm just recording this straight to the camera and just gonna put it straight onto YouTube. I think if I can do something on my iPad then I might, but if not then it's just gonna be a raw upload. So I will be looking at the phone because that's where all my notes are. Let's get into it. Today, the numbers, as of right now recording this video, 183,114 cases worldwide confirmed, 7,175 deaths. That number just keeps on growing. It's kind of scary. Yesterday, Italy added 3,233 new cases. Spain added 1,954 new cases. Germany, 1,459. France, 1,210. And Iran with 1,053. I'm just surprised that there's so many European countries now in the 1,000 plus list for daily new cases, so it's kind of scary. All right, stories. As I said, I'm gonna keep looking down at my phone because, you know. All right, so there's been a bit of a marketing campaign for Chinese people overseas to come back. I'm not sure if the government is just trying to sell the idea that China is the safest place on earth right now, which it seems to be. According to the official numbers, you know. So yeah, it seems to be the safest place on earth in terms of the lowest coronavirus cases, considering it was the place where the outbreak happened. Only, I believe, 12 or 20 something cases today. Let me just check. As of right now, bring it up. 21 cases today out of 1.4 billion people, so it's quite low. But the thing is, when these people come back now, so it doesn't matter whether you're Chinese or if you're a different nationality, when you come back to China now, you will need to quarantine for 2 weeks. Unlike before, where they were letting people self-isolate at home, now they are enforcing the quarantine. So the government, whichever airport you fly to, I think right now it's only Beijing, but very soon that's going to be expanded to the rest of the airports as well. And whichever airport you fly to, they are going to allocate you to a hotel, which is bad news because they get to choose the hotel and you have to pay for the whole 2 weeks. So what the reports are saying is the prices are between 500 to 800 RMB per day, or per night I should say. So you got to pay that for 14 nights. And the quality, well, who knows? I'm not sure. I've seen some videos, but unverified, so I can't really comment. But just remember, if you do come back to China, you can't just go straight back home. It doesn't matter who you are. You will need to you will be isolated, let's just say, and at your own expense. Also, if you do need to be treated and tested, you have to pay for that, because right now they're saying that China has got over the pandemic, the epidemic, and now any cases being brought back to China is nothing to do with them. It's your fault for bringing it back, so you have to pay for everything. So there's that to think about. Next thing, US cases are now reaching the level that Italy was 2 weeks ago. So in America, right now I'm telling you, in America, you guys need to just get yourself tested or isolate yourselves. Because unlike, it seems at least, unlike the rest of the world, where for coronavirus stuff, the medication has been kind of paid for by the government, according to what I'm reading, I'll put the links in the description because I can't put anything on screen today because I'm not editing it. So according to what I'm reading, the coronavirus tests are now being paid for in America by the government, but not any treatment if you need treatment, which is still a bit of a deterrent. The idea of paying for the testing was so that people wouldn't feel afraid, you know, if they are poor or they don't have health insurance and stuff like that. The idea of the government paying for the testing was to bring those people out of the dark into the light and say, hey, you can be tested for free. But if you are found to have the coronavirus, then what? You're gonna have to pay for your own medication. What if you can't pay? That's the question. So to me, it still kind of leaves it open for people to not want to come forward, even if they feel like they might have the disease. So I'm not sure with that. If you're in America, let me know in the comments down below. Is it different across different states, or is that a nationwide thing? It sounds kind of scary to me, because if you're, for example, a minimum wage worker, you're tying, you know, you're holding down a family, and you can't afford to take time off work because maybe your job doesn't give you, you know, time off. And then you take a coronavirus test for free, great. And then they tell you, you've got this virus. Yes, it says that companies can have up to 2 weeks of sick pay, but what if you need treatment? You're gonna have to pay for that yourself? Maybe, potentially? I don't know, sounds kind of scary. I can't say, I'm not in that situation. No comment. Let me know if you are in America and let me know what the real situation is on the ground, because I've only got the news to go by. All right, next. If you're in Europe, there is a travel ban. So a travel ban for people that are not EU citizens, and this is including the UK, even though the UK has left the EU kind of in January, kind of whatever it's in now. The EU has brought in a travel ban, right? So don't go to the EU if you're not a member. I think that's a great thing. They should also lock down the countries internally as well. So all the European countries should close down their borders just to contain the virus and deal with what they've got. Stop importing the cases. Ukraine has closed down shopping malls, bars, and public restaurants. Public restaurants. That seems to be a theme across the world right now. Closing down bars, restaurants. That was what Boris Johnson said as well. He said, if you're in the UK, don't go to the pub, don't go to the theatre, and don't go to restaurants. But you can if you want to. But we recommend you don't. Why don't they make it the law? Just make it the law. Sticking with Boris Johnson, it didn't take him very long to change his mind, did it? So just the other day, they were talking about herd mentality, herd immunity, and how they're going to let 60% of the population get infected and build up a herd immunity for a disease that we have no idea whether there can be a herd immunity or whether anyone is immune. We're going to build up herd immunity. The first country in the world. Anyway, so he changed his mind and now he's saying that people can and should try to work from home if they can, which is great. It's not too little too late, but it is very late. We've seen what happened already with China, South Korea, the Diamond Princess, Iran, Italy, Spain, and the UK is just like, yeah, I'm still gonna wait a little bit longer before we impose a lockdown. Let's just wait. Let's just wait until we have too many cases to handle, then we'll lock down. That's a great idea. So I'm not sure why everything is just so slow. And social distancing. Everyone should stay 6 feet apart. Try that when you're waiting for a bus. Okay. Anyway, so I think they should close the schools. What do you think? I got so far and then my tongue just started going blah, 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 so I had to cut there. Right, closing schools, I was going to say. Closing schools, that's what I think the UK should do right now. That's the next thing they should do. Italy versus South Korea. Why are there more deaths in Italy? Why are there so many more deaths in Italy compared to South Korea, considering that they had a very, very similar sudden rise in cases and the numbers were about the same, but now South Korea has literally controlled it and they're tapering off. They're having so few cases compared to Italy per day. So what happened? What's the difference? Anyone with any suggestions, let me know. I've been reading stuff about the population is different in South Korea, the ones who got infected. I've been reading that they were much younger and most of them were women, and apparently the coronavirus is affecting the opposite, so affecting older people and men in particular. So I don't know, there needs to be more study on that, I think, but there is a definite clear difference here. Italy has been attacked by this coronavirus. Right now it's worse than anywhere in the world. Sure, China had many more cases, 80,000, but if you look at the deaths, Italy's going to pass China very soon, if we're going by the official numbers, that is, you know what it is. Okay, so next thing, Amazon in America wants to employ more people to deliver stuff during the coronavirus period, because there's a lot of people who are self-isolating, working from home, and a lot of people will be shopping, because what else can you do when you're at home bored to death, like me and Hillary and Oscar? Bored to death at home, we haven't been shopping, to be honest, but I imagine that not everyone is in our circumstances. We are running on Hillary's salary, which has been reduced now to pennies and just random other income. So yeah, salaries have been cut down. We're lucky though, we don't have to pay rent, so yeah. All right, next, coronavirus testing. There's a weird thing going on in the world, not just any one country in particular, but in the world outside of South Korea. And I guess Italy's quite aggressive, but most of the other countries seem to be taking it in their stride. Just like, yeah, it's okay. If you think you've got symptoms, don't worry about it. Just stay home, self-isolate. If you've got a fever, only if you have a fever for 7 days, then you can be tested and all this random stuff. We already know that people can be asymptomatic. They can spread it before they show symptoms. And maybe they don't ever show symptoms and they can spread it. these people need to be tested as well. I don't know why there's so many countries around the world that are still going on this thing about it can only be transmitted when you have a fever and you're coughing and showing symptoms. That's not the case. China figured that out way back in January. Why are people still figuring this out now, months later? Oh. And there was another thing as well. Can you be infected twice? Yes, you can be infected twice. We already know that as well. There's a recent story now. A guy in Japan, he got infected back in February, like the early February. He recovered, and now we are, what, 17th of March, and he's positive again. You can be infected twice, yes. Why are people still saying, oh, you can't be infected twice, so you can have herd immunity? No, it's not the case. It's not going to happen. You can be infected many, many times, and you won't be immune any time. It's so annoying when I read these stories. A trial vaccination in Seattle. No, thank you. Would you want to be a volunteer for that? I'm not even sure there was any time for animal testing, because we only knew about this thing from January. Let's say you had a vaccination. How many months would it take for side effects to show? No thanks, I wouldn't want to be testing any vaccinations right now. Sure, you could be one of the people that helps to save the world, but animal testing first, right? Find a mouse. I'm sorry about the mice, but don't just go straight to testing on people. Unless they already have it and like they're gonna, you know, they might already be on their way out and there's nothing else you can do. Let's just test the vaccine before they go and let's see what happens. Like maybe that, but I don't know, man. Would you volunteer for a test vaccination, a trial vaccination? Nah, I'll pass. And the last thing I want to talk about is this lack of communication about the coronavirus in general. The lack of communication that's causing people to go out to the supermarkets and go crazy panic buying. You know, in China, I've been here, I said it already, I've been here the whole time, and at no point was there a panic buying thing in the supermarkets. When they said stay at home, everyone just stayed at home. And there wasn't a time when you couldn't go to the supermarket, in Beijing at least. You could always go out. We didn't go out. I went out like back in January before it like really got crazy, but we could always go out. There were all sorts of different restrictions put on us, like you had to get a pass to go out and stuff like that, but we could always go out. And supermarkets, when I went, they were never busy. It was empty, but there was always food on the shelves. It was mountains of the stuff, mountains of food, mountains of toilet roll and everything. So I think the lack of communication particularly in the UK, I'm not sure about other countries because I haven't been following the news for everywhere, but in the UK, people don't know, will the supermarkets be shut down? Will we be quarantined in our homes? Will we be allowed out? Let's just panic buy just in case. And no one's going out to say, hey, don't worry about it. You can always go to the supermarkets. The supermarkets are guaranteed to be open and stocked. You don't need to panic buy. No one's saying that. They're just saying, oh, don't panic, herd immunity, and stupid stuff like that. Of course people are gonna panic. Anyway, that's all for today. I'm sorry I couldn't edit today's video, except for like doing a little snip here and there. I'm really sorry about that. It's because my computer the cable, the charger cable started to smoke. So I bought a new one. It's gonna come tomorrow. Tomorrow's video will be fine. Okay, that's the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what's happening in your city, your town. If you've got any travel plans in the next few weeks or months, I don't wanna say cancel, but I wanna say just think about what you're doing. Think about where you're going. Yeah, and someone commented on the video yesterday sort of saying, so the best thing we can do is to not get the virus. Well, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I know, the way it sounds, yeah, maybe it sounds stupid, but a lot of people really aren't taking it seriously. When I say the best thing to do is not get the virus I mean, try not to get the virus. Try not to go out. Try not to go to the bar. Try not to go to the football match. Try not to go to the restaurant, the cafe, take the subway, take the bus. Try not to go to the crowd of people. Try and get a face mask if you must go out. Try and work from home. You know, there's a lot of people right now who are just not trying. So that's what I mean. Those people are not trying. So if you are trying, if you're like me, for example, if you have the ability to stay at home for as long as possible, then you're not going to get the virus, are you? You're not going to get the virus if you stay at home. unless you're literally opening the door and breathing in the air of someone that's like, you know, the postman comes and you're like, you're not going to get the virus otherwise, are you? So stay at home if you can. That's what I mean by don't get infected. Stay at home. Don't go out. That's all. I'm not saying like do magic. Oh yeah, just don't get infected. No. Anyway, that's all. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.